UFC on ESPN Plus 11 goes down this weekend from Stockholm, Sweden. Your main event is Alexander Gustafsson taking on Anthony Lionheart Smith. Both fighters coming off a loss to John Bones Jones. Both two very different finishes. Gustafsson obviously got put out of there while Anthony Smith just kept fighting on and fighting on and fighting on. The old Lionheart, as you might say. But what way do we see this one going, Rob?
Firstly, I just think it's funny that both guys are coming off a loss to John Jones, because if you want to say, show me the state of the UFC's light heavyweight division, you go, check out this fight. It's basically, John Jones is too good for everybody, so he just beats these guys and they have to fight each other over and over again. I feel like I've seen all these fights in this card for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just the whole European thing. We always see the same guys on these cards. But Alex is a good headliner to have on the card, and Anthony Smith, apart from that last loss, he's looked good. So I do like the fight. In terms of how it goes, I would favour Gustafsson from the get-go. I just think he's a way better fighter in basically every aspect. I think he's a better boxer, better footwork. Smith has good striking and he's very aggressive and tenacious, but I just think Gustafsson is a better all-round fighter. And what we seen in his last performance, I believe, in Sweden against Glover, when he just lit him up with that uppercut, I feel like we might see something similar. Like Anthony Smith, you know, he's been around for a long time. He's not like this young guy coming through. But also Gustafsson has been talking about potentially retiring, you know, over the years. So you never know what Gustafsson you're going to get. But I do favour Gustafsson here, and I like this fight for him.
I agree, as in, when you put it like, as an athlete, technically Gustafsson ticks all the boxes above Smith. But as a fighter, I just think Smith has... If you're in a bar fight, you want Smith on your team. He's just that guy that'll get a bloody nose and just keep swinging. But I think against Alexander Gustafsson, you're talking about a guy who pushed John Jones to the limits in their first
and showed
contest.
his heart as well.
Yeah,
showed his heart.
He got hurt, and he was openly speaking about it on the MMA Hour recently about he's never been hurt as much as he was in the John Jones fight, the last John Jones fight. Wow. And he put that down to why he was finished. He couldn't do much with his groin. He had a groin either tear or rip or something. I'm not 100%. But so he couldn't get a lot of it off. He was saying like he doesn't get held down and doesn't get finished like that, and you know he just couldn't get out of it with the groin. So it's one of them that in some ways I'm like, it's like McGregor. The stories coming out about McGregor about the broken foot and all. Eventually injuries come out, but it's one that it's weird the way it comes out just leading into this fight. But Smith, I think like Smith, when he was on the run of like the win over Volkan Ozdemir, Mauricio Shogun Rua, Rashad Evans, like he was on a tear. Like you can argue, Evans and Shogun were past it, but like I thought the win over Volkan Ozdemir was a big win. So do you know what it is? It's sort of like, he was the guy that's going to fight John Jones again if he doesn't go up to heavyweight and fight DC, really, isn't it? That seems to be the game. I don't think they can do Gustafsson 3 so quick. Maybe if Smith got a couple of wins together, they could. It was
very dominant though, wasn't it, the John Jones one? Like, there's no... At least with Gustafsson, you can point to that last fight, not the last one, the one before that, where it was a war and Gustafsson had a good shot. You know, he put on a very good performance, whereas you look back at Anthony Smith, he didn't really. It was just kind of a flat performance, and not because he put on a bad performance, just John Jones is so good.
He was saying, like, in the fight, he was sort of saying, like, he wouldn't stand in front of Jones and stuff, but he did. He looked at it like he was stood in front of a mirror. He was waiting on Jones to act, and then he was trying to counter it. This one, he can't do that again. Gustafsson fights long, and as you said, if he goes to the mat, you favour Gustafsson down there as well. For me, Anthony Smith's way of winning this fight is getting dirty and trying to land them big, heavy shots and test Gustafsson. Has that chin gone? Can he not take the shots like he used to? Can he get hurt? Go to the body, work his shots, and that's something that Anthony Smith can do very well. He can really rip to the body, but he's a heavy hitter as well. For somebody who came up a weight class as well,
still a heavy hitter,
he's still a big hitter. But for me, I just think Gustafsson, he's fought the bigger and better fighters, and I just think he potentially has too much here for Anthony Smith. But it's and this sounds like get off the fucking fence now. In some ways, I won't be surprised if Anthony Smith gets the win, and I don't mean disrespectfully to Anthony Smith, but it's potentially if Gustafsson, as you said, is thinking retirement and is thinking is getting out of there. I never like it, as I know you do. I never like when a fighter's talking about retirement when they're still active. Maybe if it is in the background, keep it there. But you know, when they're thinking about it, their mindset coming into the fight. So maybe Anthony Smith catches him, gets him on a good night, and he's not fighting prime time Gustafsson. But again, in front of a Swedish crowd, he won't want to fall short the way he did. What was that against Rumble? Absolutely.
Yeah, like I was gonna say that. I was looking back at his record, Gustafsson, and like if you want to point to some of the matchups that Gustafsson had problems with, aside from Phil Davis, which was really early, and I think he fixed that. He actually went and trained with Phil Davis after that fight, and he fixed what the problems were there. But if you want to look at the fights where he had trouble, it was probably only Anthony Johnson, apart from Cormier and Jones, and that's just a skill deficit. But in terms of like one matchup that you could look at and say, oh, here's the blueprint and here's how Anthony Smith could have success, it could be Anthony Johnson because they're both big hitters. But I still don't think Anthony Smith is as big of a hitter as Rumble Johnson. Rumble Johnson hits like
well, I don't think many heavyweights hit like Rumble
exactly.
Johnson.
So it's a tough one. But I'm going to go with Gustafsson in this one.
I am the same. And I would imagine, Sean, you can confirm, I would imagine he's a big favourite.
Yeah, so Gus is 3-10 and Smith is 11-5. So yeah, quite a big underdog. But for me, I kind of have question marks over both guys. I mean, Smith froze. It was his first main event against Jones. Yeah,
I think it might have been actually.
He froze like his main event again now. So I have question marks with him over that.
I don't think it was his reason for freezing was
I understand
main event.
that,
I think it was more so who he's fighting.
He's been saying in the lead up to this as well. I think he was on Ariel's show and he said he has no game plan for Gustafsson, which is interesting.
I don't mind that either. He wants Luke Rockhold next. Rockhold coming up to light heavy, so a win will probably get him that. But yeah, if he was to beat Gustafsson and then beats Luke Rockhold,
I think Rockhold's a guy who could get you a title shot very quickly.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And like I said,
shine from him.
Incredibly impressive in times, Anthony Smith. But I think people just throw shade on them recent fights because there are fighters that aren't in their prime, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, big favourite Alexander Gustafsson at home. I'm going Gustafsson, and I'd say I'll go to 5.
I'm gonna say the same. Like he went decision with John Jones. They both did at one point, but Smith recently went. So yeah, I think he can stay in there, stay competitive. But yeah,
I'll take Gustafsson as well in the distance.
Yeah,
you're getting a little triangle on his arm.
Jeez, we all went the distance.
Co-main is a big hitters. We've got Volkan Ozdemir against my mate Ilir Latifi. This one is. This is a weird one because you look at Volkan Ozdemir, he's gone from title contention to on a 3-fight skid. He lost to Daniel Cormier, lost to Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes. He beat Dominic Reyes. One of the worst decisions in recent memories for me in the UFC.
It's close.
No, definitely won it. Coming up against Latifi. Latifi is also coming off a loss, but again fighting in front of the home crowd. His loss was over Corey Anderson. Before that he had some good wins over the likes of Owen St. Peru and Tyson Pedro, and this is Latifi's dangerous in all aspects, and he can really, like, I think with Ozdemir we go under, you looked at his quick finishes of the likes of Jimmy Manaway, who's on this card as well, and you sort of think, big hitter, but what does he do when plan A doesn't work? And I think we've seen that against Dominic Reyes.
I thought we saw a better
He was a bit more patient in his striking, and he was trying to work behind the jab and mix up his combinations. But against Latifi, his hands full with an opponent. He will be looking for the takedown, but can land bombs as well. Almost Dan Henderson style overhands. Yeah,
like I think it was a closer fight. I did score it to Volkan Ozdemir, but I thought it was a bit closer than you did. But I also thought that one of the reasons why the decision went Dominic Reyes' way is just the inactivity by Ozdemir in the fight. And
I thought Reyes was just as bad.
Yeah, they were both kind of bad. But what I mean by that is that we've kind of seen Ozdemir do the thing of going in and just bull rushing somebody and get them out of there. And now we've seen him do better over the distance, but not being super.
He needs to sort of align.
Yeah, so I wonder in this is a really tough one because Ilir Latifi is similar in a way where we've seen Ilir go out there and win decisions and look really impressive with his cardio really good. Last time out against Corey Anderson, it wasn't really that way. His cardio kind of ran out, and he slowed down a lot. But both guys slowed down. So I wonder here if this does go the distance, who's the guy who's going to be able to put on more pressure, who's going to keep their cardio. I'm leaning towards Latifi, not confident with it, but I think on current form as well, them 3 losses, there's going to be a lot of questions on Ozdemir going in here. I know it's a lot of high profile fights as well, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. And you're in Latifi's back garden, it's at home. He's going to have the crowd behind him. And he has put on some really good performances in Sweden, even in his losses. So I'm going to go with Latifi just to have good cardio and just be more aggressive, get some takedowns, because we know Ozdemir struggles with that. And Latifi does have good takedowns when his cardio's there. I'm leaning towards Latifi, but this is a tough fight to pick.
I'm going Ozdemir,
Nice.
and I'm going him in the short range, the gunfight inside. He carries. We refer to it. We've done this a good few times when we talk about Ozdemir. He has that Shane Carwin power. It's almost like in Kill Bill, you know, where she gets out of the coffin by doing the 1-inch punch. He really has that just end the night power in his hands.
There's no time, as he says.
No time. And Latifi in the clinch, working for takedowns, changing levels, changing singles to doubles. I think he could pull him with Wizard, separate, frame off, land a short hand, and end the night that way. So I'm going to go Ozdemir, and I'm going to go first round KO for Ozdemir and get back in the win. I think age could be a thing here as well. Like Latifi's 35 and Ozdemir's 29. Wow. Freakily, what's weird here is, and this is always funny actually, you see this in a lot of fights actually. Ozdemir stands 6'2". And Latifi's 5'8", so he's a small guy, but the reach is the same. He's like an orangutan.
We were looking at this, yeah. You can explain, Sean.
What?
So the podcast I recommended, was it last week? Podcast I recommended last week. This is exactly what that professional MMA bettor was talking about. So he backs guys with longer reach, but who are smaller than their opponents. Yeah, and his ROI on this is like 30-something%.
Yeah, it's quite high. Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, and like I think it's weird because when you look at Latifi, he does have that real orangutan.
Yeah, it's like
body
mass
about him.
He can walk on his arms. Like
he's real long. So when he was sitting having a beer with me, I noticed that about him. Yeah. You know, good friends. But now I just think
to pick against him.
I'm going to pick against him on this occasion. Yeah. I just think that short range power of Ozdemir. But again, this is a real pick. Like Latifi has his nights, especially in Sweden. He can look fantastic. But I'm going to back the Swiss man to get it done.
Nice.
What are the odds on it, Sean? Actually, did you call him out?
Yeah, so quite close. Ozdemir is a small favourite. He's 8-11, and Latifi is even money. But it was interesting. Did you hear Ali Abdelaziz talking again this week? It wouldn't be like him.
I've heard him talk. But
yeah, he was saying that Ilia Latifi was the one who stopped him jumping off the bus in Brooklyn and attacking everyone who was attacking the bus.
Really?
You know, Ali's really hard and big fighting man and stuff, you know.
Great stuff.
So well done Ilia Latifi on stopping some even more carnage going on there when Ali went to jump out.
This car, when you look at it, it's a night of big hitters, isn't he? Jimmy Manoa, as we said earlier, is on the card and he's fighting Alexander Rakic. 11-1 Rakic, lost his pro debut. Nothing since, just all wins. Well, Jimmy Manoa, talking about age, Jimmy Manoa's getting up there.
He is.
I'm just waiting on this to load and I'll tell you. But I would imagine he's around my age. I would imagine about 38. Is he 39? Oh, that was alright. He's 39. He's up there. Again, 3-fight loss streak, and some of the losses have been devastating. That Volkan Ozdemir one, 22 seconds. The Thiago Santos one early in the second round. They were big losses, and they're the type of losses that when you see a fighter like Manoa, who, especially the Ozdemir and even the Santos loss, it's them sort of fights that is like they're fighting you in your wheelhouse, where you're the big hitter, where you want the fight to take place, where you think you have the power, and his lights were getting turned off. But when you look at them two fights and you look at what Volkan, like I think the Volkan one surprised a lot of people because Volkan was a little bit of an unknown when he done this to Jimmy Manoa. But Jimmy Manoa's boxing and power is phenomenal, and I actually think he's a huge underdog in this one, which could be the cheeky bet if you're a betting man. But yeah, talk to me about this one, Rob. What did you think? Jimmy Manoa can turn it back around? 3 fights kid.
I like Ratchet here. He's a really, really good kickboxer, and he's had, I think, around 40 pro kickboxing matches before he moved to MMA. And he moved to MMA when he was like 19 or something. So like you can look at Manoa coming in here as the veteran, but at, you know, what is he, 10-1? Or 11-1? And
8 of them by knockout.
8 of them by knockout, and having so many kickboxing matches. To me, it doesn't really look like a veteran versus a kind of a younger guy, even though Ratchich is only 27 versus, as you said, Jimmy Manoa was 38, 39.
So what do you think potentially we could see Jimmy Manoa going and becoming the wrestler in this one?
Potentially. He has shot for a few takedowns, unsuccessfully for the most part, but he has shot for some takedowns. But Rakic is a huge hitter. Really, really big hitter.
Just to your point, Sean, about your betting man that you were talking about. Rakic is 6'4" with a 78-inch advantage. Jimmy Mano is 6'1", 79.5 reach advantage. So it was the smaller man with the longer reach.
If that comes through. But I'm all over Rakic in this fight. I
think what I'm going to do in this card is I'm just going to...
Just pick those?
No, I'm going to go through the card and pick the exact picks that this guy's going to be on. Just see what happens.
Yeah. I think he also said if he picks between like plus 150, plus 200 or something like that.
It was plus 110 and plus 150.
Yeah. I wonder what the odds are here. But yeah, I'm all over Rakic here. I just think that he's just as big of a hitter as Manoa.
Yeah.
He's a bit wild, but I think that plays into his advantage. And experience-wise, he's fought in the UFC a few times. He has tons of kickboxing matches, and he's 11-1.
You can go down the argument of Manoa has fought the bigger guys
Definitely.
in MMA.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But again, my concern here is a 39-year-old Jimmy Manoa coming into this. And when you meet Jimmy Manoa as well, like he's a unit of a man. So he's the type of guy that, like, when you look at him in MMA fight, that all that muscle needs a lot of oxygen, a lot of. So when he goes hard and it takes him a little bit to recover as you get older. I imagine that gets harder. But I just the last few finishes that he's been at the end of.
If you go through those finishes, give me a reaction to what these knockouts are like. The Gustafsson knockout. Horrible. Oh. Johnson.
Yeah, it just
it goes down. They're all like ew.
Knockouts,
And as I said, they were the type of knockouts that this is where he wanted the fight to take place. It wasn't like he was taken down and ground and pounded. He was absolutely polarized in these fights and fucking shadow round, so so I'm going with Rakic here as well, and I'm probably going to go with the finish as well.
Me too. I'm going to go first round knockout.
So Ratchet's quite a big favourite. He's 2-5, and Jimmy Manoa is 7-4, which I wouldn't touch with a barge pole.
Your next bout on the card, we have Makwan Amirkhani taking on Chris Fishgold. If you were looking at Amirkhani and you want to go on and go, I need to check out this guy's record and stuff, please just go on to Topology. Because his profile picture is phenomenal on Topology. There you are, Sean. He's basically sitting on a couch drinking a martini surrounded by 4 blonde women.
My man.
Mr. Finland. Got his hands full in Chris Fishgold. This is one where Fishgold was, he's coming through Cage Warriors. Everybody was screaming for him to get there. He got there. Kelvin Carter, round 1, loss, and it was like, ooh, it really deflated the hype train, and I took a little bit away of the excitement of, UK MMA fans when Fishgold got the call to the UFC. But he came back against Daniel Teemer and got the rear naked choke in the second round to go 1-on-1 here. But against Amirkhani, Rob, how do we fancy his chances?
It's an interesting clash of styles because they're both really good grapplers. I think Fishgold probably has the better submissions, like catching somebody in submission, but I think Amirkhani's grappling is just better overall. I think his wrestling is much better. Fishgold likes to get takedowns off strikes, and they're kind of power doubles that he gets, not necessarily what Amirkhani does where he can kind of chain wrestling together, which is kind of rare for a European fighter. So I think it'd be an interesting clash of styles. On the feet, I think, if Amirkhani's his cardio isn't there, I think he could have trouble because Fishgold is always really aggressive on the feet. So he could get caught, and he got caught in his last fight against Jason Knight a few times. He got dropped a few times as well. And I know a lot of people thought Jason Knight should have won that fight. It was close. But I just think Amirkhani is the better overall grappler. I think he's going to be able to get it to the floor, get on top. And I don't think Fishgold's going to be able to get the strikes off that he needs or get on top. I think Amirkhani is too good with his wrestling for that to happen. But Amirkhani as well, this is the first time since 2015 that he'll have 2 fights in a calendar year. He's not very active at all. And also his cardio does go. It's happened in many fights. And if it does, Fishgold can capitalise. But yeah, I'm going to go Amirkhani to win. Decision. Yeah, decision.
I'm going to go with Chris Fishgold.
Nice.
Interestingly, and I know it sounds weird, I'm not saying he's going to be distracted by it. I'm not sure if he's a red or a blue, but a Liverpudlian, and Liverpool are playing the Champions League final on Saturday night while he's fighting in Stockholm.
Nice.
This will be an early card from. I wonder will he.
I wonder will he get in, get the job done, and get out and watch Tottenham beat Liverpool in the Champions League final,
or just say he's not fighting when he's called because the game's on.
Yeah, the man's match fucking kicks off. Like, yeah, he could be a blue. So I'm not too sure if Chris Fishgold is a blue. To your point, Rob, about the gas tank of Amir Khani, and Fishgold's the type of guy that he could be absolutely have nothing left, and he's just going to keep coming forward. And I'm going to go with the Scouser in this one. I'm going to go with Fishgold. I'm going to do him by late stoppage with that rear naked choke.
He does like it.
Yet again in the third round.
He does like it.
Fishgold out of next gen. Liverpool.
What's your pick, Rob?
Amir Khani decision.
Okay. Amir Khani sounds a lot like Amir Khan, the boxer.
Does actually.
But yeah, the odds in this one have.
Well done, Sean. You put that together brilliantly.
Yeah.
Just so you know, lads.
Yeah.
Amir Khan is Amir Khani. Sorry, is even money, and Chris Fishgold is slight favourite at 8-11. Huh. It's interesting as well. I was looking up there. Fishgold gave himself his own personal deadline to get signed by the UFC. So he said if he wasn't signed by the time he was 26, he was calling it a day with MMA, and he got signed a month before he was 26.
Oh shit.
Well, there was big talk about him and Paddy Pimblett getting signed for the UFC. We know Paddy Pimblett was like he was happy enough to stay in Cage Warriors. He spoke about it on
Ariel show, wasn't it?
Ariel and stuff, saying I don't need Zems, I need me.
Then he took an L
and stuff like that. So.
Sean, Mr. Shade over there.
Sean thrown shade.
That's hilarious.
And then he took an L. Moving on the card, Christos Glagos taking on Damir Hadjevic. I'm going with that. Hadjevic. Yeah.
Bosnian, is he?
Sure.
I like Hadjevic here. He's very, very well rounded, as cliche as that is.
Funny, I think he is Bosnian. His nickname is the Bosnian Bomber.
Nice.
So,
bit of a cool.
Can't be guaranteed.
It's a great nickname in the next
Marcus Davis was also called the Irish hand grenade, so you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, never know.
A plastic Bosnian. Awkward striker, but very effective. He's very aggressive, and I haven't been that impressed with Glagos. He's fine. I mean,
he grand that.
I didn't see like a huge amount from him.
He got rear naked choked by Charles Oliveira,
which is fair enough.
That happens.
Yeah,
but
the most. Hadjevic held his own against Marcin Held on the floor, got out some mad positions and won the fight. And also, remember that knee where Marcin Held was going for a takedown? I think he was going for like a single leg. Hadjevic just landed a knee, like a weird low knee, and he just fucking crumbled. I'm gonna go with Hadjevic knockout.
Yeah, I actually think he's a big favourite here as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 4-9, so quite a big favourite.
Fair enough then.
Big favourite. Let's speed through the last couple here. The main card. So
last one, right?
Yeah,
one more.
Small main card, is it?
Daniel Timmer taking on Singbing Yo. 9-0. This is
Singbing Yo. 9-0.
Yeah, it's all goes fantastic. Yeah. The Korean Falcon.
He also has no picture on the UFC website.
Yeah. He has a phenomenal nickname though, and he trains with the Korean Zombies. You have the Korean Zombie, the Korean Falcon. It's got to be more there.
Sounds like a shit Asian version of fucking Power Rangers.
Or no, the Avengers. The terrible Avengers. The Korean Avengers.
The UFC debut, 9-0, champion of course at TFC. A lot of hype coming in behind him from that side of the world. So it'll be interesting to see the debut. How do you think it plays out?
I think Daniel Tamor has had 3 fights in the UFC and they were all losses, right?
Yeah.
So he hasn't really looked that impressive. I think of the brothers, I think his brother is the better fighter. But like he has had moments in the UFC, and he's gone against some really good guys like Chris Fishgold, Julio Arce, and Danny Henry.
Yeah.
It's not an easy run. But there's going to be a lot of pressure coming in here now. 3 on the trot against a debuting guy who people are looking at as a prospect. So he's going to want to get a win here, but there's going to be a lot of pressure. I watched some highlights of Sang Bin Jo, and he's very exciting. And he, like, the guys who he's fighting, I'm not sure how good they are because some of them are like 2-3, 0-5, 0-3. He has some on there. Like, he has a few wins against guys with, 20-9 and 1, so experienced guys. And he's still like 9-0, so it's fine. But, like, I'm not sure if he was beating these guys up because he's so good, which it looked like it was the case, or these are so bad. It's kind of hard to say. But he was very exciting. His counter game was amazing. He was landing like counter right hooks, counter uppercuts, knocking people out dead. I'm going to go with this guy because he looks like a prospect.
Yeah.
I just don't know this competition he's for.
Yeah, Singbo, he seems Timur's coming in. When you look at his 3 UFC fights, he's fighting against guys who are newly signed to the UFC and that are he seems to be
that guy, isn't he?
It's not the gatekeeper. It's
the UFC gatekeeper.
Yeah, but no, it's gatekeeper is a weird one. It's like, you know, your front door,
the doorman.
Yeah, you're like not even like the gate is at the front, and he's like the driveway gatekeeper. Like, you know what I mean? It's when you're first signed to the promotion, he's the sort of guy to see where you are, see you're good enough for the UFC, and then you go on, you beat him, and then it's like,
yeah, he's a receptionist.
Yeah, he's like the doorman that opens the door for you, and you still have to go through the door. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but that's so disrespectful. The man's fighting in the UFC, but you're fuck it. It's one of these ones that highlight reels. It's like when you look like, you know, they're going to sign who? How long did I stick him in YouTube? Looks like a world beater. Yeah. Then it turns out he's Cleberson. Do you know what I mean? It's just not a world beater.
It's gone over all the Americans' heads.
But Cleberson was shit for those you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous footballer.
Song Bin Yo 8-15 and then 11-8. So I'll be taking Song Bin Yo.
I will too.
Song Bin Yo, yeah, probably get it done by finish as well.
I wouldn't have fancied promoting this card. There's a lot of guys on losses coming into this, you know?
Yeah. But Sean, it's a European card. So they don't have to stack it. They just sell it with 3 letters.
Yeah. No, you're right. I agree.
That's very true. 2 fights on the undercard that are really good. Stevie Ray and Leandro Santos. Very good fight. Tough fight for Stevie Ray. Well, tough fight for both. And Nick Hine against Frank Camacho. Frank Camacho is insanely entertaining to watch. Nick Hine can be, but Frank Camacho just keeps coming forward. He's a madman. So they're ones to look out at.
Excellent. Yeah. They're the fights if we missed anyone under the radar, as we say in the main in the prelims, shout us, give out to us in the comments. But that's ESPN Plus 11 this Saturday night. Apparently, if you press this button somewhere here, it subscribes and you get all the notifications for the show. So hit that button there. You
have to click the bell though to get the notifications down the bottom.
Make sure you hit that, and they get the ringer things because Rob didn't know. So it's the button there or there.
It's somewhere roughly around that area.